Well, friends, this is Guruji Online, and today we are going to learn something about Coulomb's law. In my previous lecture, we have seen about the charges, and there were two types of charges. That is, one is positive, and another is negative. These two types of particles we studied about. We can have positive charges and negative charges, and we studied about electron and proton also. So in my previous lecture about the charges, actually what we learned that like charges they repel, and unlike charges they attract. Suppose we have two positive charges, that is this, and this is also positive. Generally we denote the charges with Q. So suppose there is no sign, then it is a positive charge. So what will happen between them? They will repel. Like this. Repel means there will be a force. There will be a force between them which will try to make it more apart. So, what is this force? Determining the quantity of this force is all about Coulomb's law. Suppose you have this unlike charges, then there will be an attraction between them. And if you leave it apart like this, they will join together. So, between these two also, we have a force. So, what is this force basically? How we can determine? So, basically, our scientist, that is Charles Augustin Coulomb. He was a French physicist. Actually, he observed that, like in Newton's law, Newtonian physics we have studied, this is a gravitation constant, m1 m2 upon r square. In Newton's law, he observed that force is proportional to product of the masses and proportional to 1 by r square. R is nothing but, this is the distance, means m1 and m2, where r distance apart, then there will be a force of attraction. But in this, you will find only the force of attraction. Between any two masses, there will be force of attraction. Like that, he observed in between the charges also, this force is proportional to product of the charges. This is Q1, you can say, this is Q2, product of these charges, and it is also proportional to 1 by r square. Correct? So, like this, we have here also this formula upon r square. This is K is electrostatic constant. So this is basically the Coulomb's law for finding out the force between any two charges. In this case, force can be attractive or repulsive, like this. Now, this Coulomb, basically how did he found out these things? Actually, he invented a torsion balance. To find out this force. This experiment actually he did in 1785. But till 1923, we did not know the value of this charge. Basically, in my previous lecture, I told you that Millikan, he determined the value of electron. That is 1.602 10 raised to minus 19 Coulomb. It is only here we could find out the value of electron. Till then, we were just talking about the charges, but we did not know what is the value of the charge. So, what he did in this experiment, in torsion balance experiment, what he did, he varied the value of Q and he varied the value of R. How he varied the value of Q? Suppose you have a particle where charge is Q and there is another particle where no charge is there and you touch it, you make it touch itself. Then naturally there will be redistribution of charges and then it will have Q by 2 and Q by 2. Likewise, now this charge, it is having Q by 2 and you make it touch another particle which does not have any charge. Then charge will redistribute and this will have Q by 4 and Q by 4. So like that, between these two, he varied the quantity of charges and also he varied the distance. And ultimately, with the experiment, he found that F is proportional to product of these two charges and of course it is inversely proportional to 1 by r square, proportional to 1 by r square, and this is called is inverse square law of Coulomb as we found in Newtonian physics. This Coulomb's law, basically this is Coulomb's law, it has survived many experiments, even today it has survived so many experiments and there is no other alternative we found. And we found the experiments and results very true, even at the macroscopic level and as well as even at the microscopic. Microscopic means within the atom also. If you calculate the force between proton and electron, then also this formula holds good. So this and macroscopic, of course, outside this always holds good, but in macroscopic level also this holds good. But Newtonian formula, it is not valid when we go to atomic level, where the distances are very small and the speed is very large because electrons they have a very large speed. So there, actually, Einstein's theory that took place superseded this and what we study in quantum physics. So for microscopic things, we basically go for quantum physics. And for macro level, of course, this Newtonian law is correct. So, this is the Coulomb's formula to find out the force between two charges. If they are like, then naturally they will have repulsion, and this formula we can determine like this. And what is R? R is the distance between these two charges. So, as per the experiment, actually, this K value will be found as 4 pi epsilon 0. And this is nothing but 8.99 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square. So basically, what is the unit of charge? It is the coulomb. R we know meter, F we know Newton. So this is the unit of this. This K value is this. And what is this? This is permittivity constant epsilon 0, and this is permittivity constant, and its value is 8.5 into 10 raised to minus 12 Coulomb square upon basically this depends on the medium K. This is term, suppose this is capital K, this is nothing but this is called relative permittivity. Let us see this capital K. Capital K is nothing but this permittivity in the medium divided by epsilon 0. And it is called relative permittivity also, or it is dielectric constant also. K value is 1 basically. In vacuum, it will always be more than 1. In here it is like this. In glass it is 3 to 4. In water it is 10. Basically it is a medium property. One more thing about this Coulomb's law. Basically direction of the force. Suppose these are two charges Q1, Q2. Then of course we have a line joining this. Due to Q1, the force at Q2 will be like this, and it will be in the direction of the line joining this. This is the force on 2 due to 1, and this is the force on Q1 due to Q2, and we can denote it as 1, 2. This is a vector quantity basically. Oh, and here of course this F12 will be equal to F2. Correct. Now suppose you have more than two charges. Suppose, let us see. There is one charge here, Q1, one charge here, Q2, and this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is minus x. This is suppose Q3. You have a, suppose, test charge, suppose Q0 here. at any coordinate. So at test charge Q0, what will be the force by this three charges? So you know, for this Q1, it will be like this. By this Q0, it will be like this. Suppose these are similar charges. Suppose, let us see, this is minus, this is plus, this is plus. So these directions are okay. This will be F0, 2. And what about this? This will have attraction. It will not be like this, because this is minus. These two things will attract, so this will go like this, correct? And this will be your F0. Now you can find out the resultant of F01, F02 and F03 at this point, and that will be the resultant force on this test charge. So this goes with the principle of additivity. F0 is nothing but net force F01 plus F02 plus F03. Okay? So this follows the principles of additivity as we have seen in my last video. Now, let us see what is, suppose you are given a shell. This is a spherical shell, correct? And on this you have excess charge, excess positive charge Q. How it will distribute on this? Now, you know, this is a conducting shell. Once you put the excess positive charge, within these positive charges there will be repulsion, and because of this repulsion it will distribute uniformly on the surface of the shell. It will not be concentrated, this excess charge, it will not be concentrated on any one point or any one region. It will be distributed uniformly because of the repulsion. Like that, if you have negative charge, negative electrons, these excess negative electrons will also distribute itself on the surface. So, and due to this, shell theorem has been developed. What is shell theorem basically? In shell theorem, the charge, whatever charge on this shell, it is supposed to be concentrated on the center of the shell, because here we assume that the charge on the particle is more, means charges are prominent, particle is small. So even charge is on the surface, but we assume this charge at the center of the shell. So let me tell you, suppose you have a shell like this, and you have a test charge here. And this is your total charge is Q. So how to fit this thing into this formula? This is the same as this. The only thing is, as I told you, this charge you just assume it is concentrated on the center, and take this. Then naturally this will be the r distance, and your F will be nothing but Q into Q0 K Q into Q0 upon R square. This is your R square. And suppose this Q0 is inside the cell, then naturally on this charge there will be no force due to the surface charge of the shell. So mind it, it is a shell basically. So that's why most of the electronic bits which can be affected by the charges, they are carried in a shell-like structure and they are transported like this. Let us analyze these three situations and see the force on electron. Here two protons are there, electron is there. Here two protons, electron is in between. Here electron is here and two protons are like that. Naturally, in the first case, what will happen? This will have, due to this will have this force, and due to this, naturally, this will have force in the same direction. What will be the basically force? That will be K E P divided by D square plus K E P divided by D square. Correct? In the first case. Now let us see in the second case. In the second case, this will be attracted like this and this will be attracted like this. But both the forces are in the opposite directions. So here will be K E P upon D square and minus K E P upon D square. No problem? In the third case, let us see. This will be attracted like this and this will be attracted like this. So naturally it will have a vector combination of this. This force in the third will be vector sum of this F1, sorry, you can say Fd plus vector sum of, where Fd and Fd will be like this, but it will have a vector sum like this. So naturally, in this case, it will have the maximum force, and it will have in between like this, and here it will be the least force it will experience. So this is one problem, just to see how it behaves. Suppose you have, this is origin, this is suppose Q1 and this is Q2, correct? And the distance between these two is L. So suppose you are asked to find out both these charges are positive. Suppose you are asked to find out where should you keep your, this is minus basically and this is plus. Suppose you are asked to find out Q3. Let us analyze this problem also. Let us see Q1 is there and Q2 minus is there, and you are asked to find out 1 plus this Q3. You have to put this charge here, here, or in this region, and where it will have the equilibrium. So let us first put this charge Q3 here in this region. What will happen? It is a positive charge. This is also positive. So this will have a repulsion like this due to this, and this will have an attraction like this due to this. Naturally, in this region it cannot have any equilibrium, because the moment you put it here, 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 anywhere in between these two charges, this will just drag in this direction. Now, suppose if we put the charge here, what will happen? Due to Q1, it will have a force like this, correct? Force like this, and this will have a force like this. But in this region, from here to here, you see this distance is small, but this distance is more. So this force will always be more than this, because the more you keep like this will become weaker and weaker, this will become weaker, but not in the same proportion. So naturally it will be have a resultant force in this direction. So naturally in this region also you cannot put this. It will not have, it will not stay stable. Now let us see in this region, third region. In this region, suppose if you put, so due to this is a positive force and this is positive, naturally it will have a force like this due to Q1, and it will have a force like this due to Q2 minus Q2. Now, this force, this is distance, this distance is always more than this distance, and so it is Q2 will have like this, and this will have this, and somewhere it will have a, if you equate these two, then we can have a force equal, and at that point we can have the position of equilibrium depending on the value of charges. So this is how depending on the value of charges, distances and all, everything, means these kind of questions you will experience in Coulomb's law. Now let us see what one more thing is associated with this, is that is your electric field. So let us see what is electric field is. Electric field is also associated with charges. Actually, Michael Faraday, he found that when a glass rod is charged, then the region of influence of this glass rod changes in comparison to when it is not charged. So this is basically the influence of field around this. Like we have seen this Q and this Q, suppose positive charges are, they repel each other. That means there must be something between them, and there is a force of repulsion between them. So there must be something. But even today, basically they could not decipher without touching how this force acts. It's a field of research. But here, what their hypothesis says, this charge, any charge. Suppose this is a positive charge. Positive charge is, well, this is a positive charge. It has a region of influence, and this goes like this. Correct? These are called electric field lines. Electric field lines. This is the electric field lines due to a positive charge. Suppose a negative charge is there, naturally lines will be like this. So this is how basically they hypothesized this electric field lines, due to which they could explain the influence due to the charge nearby. And because of this, suppose there is a test charge Q0, it will experience a repulsive force like this. So what is electric field? Electric field, they define, it is also a vector quantity. This is nothing but, this is a force this test charge is experiencing here. And this is the same force as we have seen in the Coulomb's law, divided by this. Correct? And the unit is Newton per correct. So, and this is also additive. Additive means electric field at test charge due to various charges. As we have seen, F01 Q0 plus F02 Q0, like that. Or we can write it as E0 1 plus E0. So this is the electric, or we can say this F as in Coulomb's law is nothing but E into Q. Correct? So this is electric field lines, and this is what is electric field quantitatively. These are some of the values I have listed here with regard to electric field. At the surface of the uranium nucleus, actually you will find 3 into 10 raised to power 21 Newton per Coulomb. It's a very high electric field, and air breakdown occurs at this electric field 3 into 10 raised to 6 Newton per Coulomb. Actually, in my one of the video, I explained how this lightning and all occurs. You must have seen, like, suppose there is a ground. This is your positive charge, and these are your clouds. This is your negative charge. Right? So this acts as a dipole. Now, this is the axis of the dipole. Now, here, suppose it is quite above in the atmosphere where the air becomes very rare, then their electric field, actually this overcomes, and this is how the air breakdown of air occurs. And breakdown of air means these electrons they they are bounded by the within the atom. They just discharge, and they move from one atom to another like that. They discharge, they start moving and leaving behind the photons, lights. This is what we learn, and that is in the form of lightning we see in the atmosphere during the rains and all. So, like that, in the charged comb also, this kind of electric field we find, and in the household we have electric wire inside the household wiring, and there the electric field is very less. That's why we are not able to experience a shock or a spark or whatever it is. So, this is to give you some idea about the electric field. Now, let us see how the electric field lines will be there when you have a positive charge and you have a negative charge. Naturally, these will attract and this will be like this. Correct? And this will be like this. So this is how electric field between two charges, unlike charges. So this is basically called dipole. This is, but if you remember, or we will study in magnetism, the magnetic lines of a magnet. So they are the same thing. Now suppose you have like charges. Suppose this is also positive, this is also positive. And what will happen? They will repel. So first like this, correct? Now they will go basically they will not cross each other, and if you want to find out the direction of the electric field at any point, you have to just take a, suppose at this point we want to find out the what is the direction of electric field, we have to make it tangent to this line. So this is like charge, this is like charges and this is unlike charges. Now suppose you have a sheet. Suppose you have a, on one side you have a charge. This is a non-conductor sheet. On one charge, this is suppose you have a positive charge. So this is the side view of the sheet. We have charge like this. How we can draw the electric fields? Actually, this will be like this. parallel. This is basically on the edges it will be curved, but suppose we take just a small portion of this middle portion, then this will have parallel like this. So this is how you can draw the electric field lines, and it has got many applications. For the application for part, we will see in the next video. So this was one idea I wanted to give about Coulomb's law, electric field, and you must understand how these charges behave. Then only, and of course this electric field lines, then only you can do the questions correctly. So for today, this is for now, and we will do some problems, some exercises pertaining to this electric field and Coulomb's law, and also we will see what is electric potential. That is also very important thing. Okay, thank you.